right. Everyone, welcome to the new age of Jir'Haniya, a new D&D game that will be starting out here. So, yeah, we got Charles, Victor, Matthew, and Rex joining us today. It's going to be a fun time. I'm super excited for this new homebrew and everything. So, let's jump in. So, we are going to be starting off the game in Havenhearth, which is a large city that is on the eastern edge of Jir'Haniya, and it's a large city, and so I figured that'll be a good place for us to figure out where each of your characters would be. But what happened is each of your characters would have gotten word from someone saying that their name is Hirgon and that they're a star marshal, which everyone would know. They used to be like the legendary kind of not enforcers, but the legendary star readers would give these star wardens instructions about omens and prophecies and stuff like that. And so what they would do is they would go around the land and help make sure things happened according to plan. But they've gotten a lot less strong over the last 100 years, and the star readers have kind of been mysteriously dwindling. And so that's been a cause of great concern for pretty much everyone in the continent of Jir'Haniya. But you all, each individual characters, would have gotten a letter from someone named Hirgon, who claims they're a star warden, saying there's things of great importance are happening, and we'd like to meet up in Havenhearth. And there'll be a tavern called the Gilded Mug, and they give you a date of when to meet up there, and that's all the information you guys have. So, where would each of your characters find themselves in Havenhearth?
So entering through the town gate, you would see a stocky, slightly taller than average figure with a tan cloak, hood up, just trying to blend in with the masses, walking very kind of clumsily, awkwardly, like not stealthy, but just trying to blend in and just trying to go unnoticed by the gate watch.
Okay, well, it's a pretty big city, so they don't it's the second largest one on the continent, actually, and so they really don't like check individuals entering, coming and going from the city. So your character would totally be able to move without getting noticed or anything. Sorry, my cat just walked in and started meowing. Yes, he waits till I'm recording, and then he's like, "Let me just come in and just meow at the top of my lungs for no reason." So,
Yeah, sounds about right.
yep. Yes, and Hirgon is the Star Warden for sure. And he said the Gilded Mug Tavern. So, if you were to ask anyone in the town, they'd be able to point you to it. It's a pretty well-known tavern there. So, would you guys all go straight there on the day that you're supposed to meet, or would you want to like scout it out a day in advance, or kind of what? I know we got Rex's character coming in the gate and everything. So, what about the rest of you guys?
Um, I believe that my character, Castan, would be coming in through the port of the city. I would have definitely taken a boat if I could have, from where I'm from,
Yes.
down to Havenhearth. And so I would be probably just like stepping right off of the ship. I doubt that I would have been able to get there any earlier than what I'm currently getting there. So I'm probably making it there like day of.
Cool. And
Um,
would you have chartered a ship, or do you own a small vessel that you want to leave at the dock? Or
I likely would have taken like a vessel with family down to like a more populated part of like the main continent, and then from there I would have taken like a ship that was already embarking toward Havenhearth, something that was maybe heading there with goods or something, and I would have just convinced whomever to either let me take passage or work on my way there.
oh,
Whatever
totally, yeah,
I
yeah.
would
If
have been
you're
able
able
to do.
to assist with the rigging and the sailing, they would give you free passage for sure.
I
So,
probably would have been able to help a heck of a lot more with navigation,
oh, cool. Okay.
using my star chart.
Ooh, yeah, that would have come in very handy, yeah, for sure. Because there are rumors that there are uh, some raiding parties and pirates, especially around on the map. It's number 21, so the island of Koharna. There's been some tensions in that region around there. So having a good navigator to get you on the quickest, safest route to Havenhearth would definitely pay your voyage for sure. So
Absolutely.
Cool. Well, when you arrive at Havenhearth, I figure you'd arrive early afternoon, and the docks are pretty bustling and busy. There's definitely like a very fancy newer section of the dock that you would see coming in, and then there's kind of the more average area, and then on the north side of the city, there's like the really rundown older docks that are not as in use very much, but you would definitely go to the busiest, kind of like the average, not the super nice port, but just the regular part. So
I am walking straight off the ship up to the first person I see. I'm like, hello, excuse me, hi. Trying to get somebody's attention and be like, where do I find the gilded mug? The golden cup? I don't know, it's a tavern?
yeah, there'd be a dragonborn working at the docks who goes, "Hi, everyone's always asking about that place." He kind of jots down on a piece of parchment some direction for you, but it's off the main street in the city, so it's pretty easy to.
Thank you so
To,
much.
yes, of course. Welcome to Havenhoff.
And I just trot off.
Cool. All right, so we got two characters inbound towards the Gilded Mug. Charles and Victor, tell us about your characters arriving in Havenhearth.
Well, Verkus is a resident of Havenhearth,
Oh, perfect.
having been a worker, barkeep, and chef of another rival tavern to the Gilded Cup.
Nice.
So, with much chagrin, knows exactly where it is.
Has stared at it just
Just-
dismayed multiple times.
They're most likely. Yeah.
What's the name of the tavern that your character works at?
Oh, the Laughing Dragon.
The Laughing Giant. Nice. Okay.
Laughing Dragon.
Well, I'll make sure that I figure some of the people at the Gilded Mug would know who you are if you're a rival tavern, so they'll give you a hard time. It'll be fun.
I'm standing in front, looking at the tacky sign, and just shaking my head. Just every part of my being is saying, "Don't go in. Don't go in. It's not worth it. It's not worth it."
Is this like you don't like them because you applied and were rejected? Or is this like you're just not a fan?
They had the gall to fire me. They had the gall.
This is going to be fun to RP. Well, actually, we're going to say that the bouncer / manager for this. By the way, it's a 2-level, pretty old wooden structure, and the top level they have some inn rooms, and then the main floor, the bottom floor is where they have the big tavern, and they have a small kitchen. Your establishment, the Laughing Dragon, is known to have much better food. And then, but of course, the Gilded Mug claims that their drinks are better, which up for debate. But
Not the drinks, it's the food.
Right. Well, the bouncer is going to be an older dwarven man named we'll name him Goran, and
Goran.
you would have he would have been the one who fired you. So he's gonna walk out and go, "Hi, what are you doing here? You're not going to try to set this place on fire or something, are you?"
Don't tempt me. But no, I was given a summons, and I unfortunately have to meet here. A Star Warden.
A Star Warden. I didn't think those knights even existed anymore.
Neither did I, but
well,
might be a con man. But
Tress is working tonight. Make sure you tip her well and don't cause any trouble.
No promises. I'm just gonna enter.
Okay. He's gonna grumble behind you as you do. So
fine by me.
Yeah. Inside the tavern, you recognize it's fairly dimly lit. Again, this is like late afternoon, we'll say. So it's pretty lively, pretty packed. But you're able to get you could choose sitting at the bar or a booth or a table. The letter was vague. You don't know how you're gonna recognize this Hirgon fellow.
Is there anyone who has the look of a Star Warden? Someone who has like stars in their eyes? I don't know. Like
actually, so legend. I mean, none of you would have ever encountered a Star Warden before.
Yeah,
because like they've been pretty barely there the last 100 years. But I think it'd be pretty common knowledge that they used to wear like silver and gray armor.
Anyone in silver?
No, actually, well, if you want to roll a perception check, let's start
First roll
there.
of the campaign.
First
All
roll
right.
of the campaign. It's always going to be a perception check. I feel
Please
like,
be bad. I
Right.
really want this to be bad.
Perception. It's a 13.
Okay, so with a 13, you don't see anyone who screams out Star Warden at you.
All right.
But you do see, I guess this is where you're going to notice Matthew's character walk in. And so we'll role play that, and then the rest of you guys can kind of walk in as you want as well, and we'll start. So you would notice about is it Caston? That's the character.
It's Gaston, like Gaston, but with
Oh,
a
it is.
C.
Oh God, I love
Gaston.
it.
I love it. So
That was actually unintentional, so oops.
that's awesome.
Just to describe a character, like appearance, I've kind of got like bright red, kind of like with pinks and greens and golds in it. Just like really poofy, really like puffed out hair, kind of like a mini fro. Like these curls are beautiful and gorgeous, but they do not fall gracefully. They stick out at all sorts of ends.
Love it.
They're like framing my face. You would recognize me also as an Eladrin. I've got like a chestnut colored skin, very like bright green eyes, and I'm wearing just the most loud, obnoxious, like geranium colored cotton clothes with like leather bits kind of tying everything together. I have no shoes on. They are slung over my shoulder, like strung over. And so yeah, I'm tall, I'm kind of slender, and I just stroll in, and I'm just like, wow.
Vericus kind of looks over his shoulder at the starstruck individual, and great.
So as Castan enters in, there's actually an elf woman. There's actually an elf woman working at the bar. Charles, you would recognize her as being Tressa. She's someone she started just before you got fired, so you don't know her super well, but
Yeah.
you know of her. So she looks at Matthew's character and goes, "Hi, welcome in. Is it your first time here?"
Hi, yes, it is.
Shocker.
Welcome to the Gilded Mug. Would you like to sit at our bar or a table or a booth? What can we do to make you feel welcome?
I will take a seat at the bar.
Great. Come join us. And then as she asks you, what would you like to drink?
Do you have spiked kombucha?
I've never heard of such a beverage. I'm afraid we don't.
Give
We
me
have
whatever's
wines,
most popular.
ales. Our ale is the most popular for sure. Best ale in the city, they say.
I will take one ale, please.
Great. That'll just be 2 silver. It's
I'm
happy
sorry,
hour.
what?
That'll just be 2 silver. It's happy hour. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I will have water.
At this point, I will stride up, clap my fellow Eladrin on the shoulders, and throw four silver down. I'll throw 5 silver down.
Thank you, cousin. I appreciate it.
Oh, and
never enter a tavern without money.
What is money?
Oh God. Obviously you're from the West Coast, but we're going to so what you see is an Eladrin as well, also with these evergreen eyes, pupilless eyes, but very much adapted to civilization and society, with a kind of a half fade, and almost like a pseudo pompadour, like kind of the David Beckham style hair. It is raven black, slightly tanned skin, not the most muscular individual, but is an individual who looks like he does get his exercise in. He's pretty much average height, maybe a little on the taller side, and has this very unusual for an Eladrin, but has a very slight facial hair scruff.
Ooh.
His clothing is a bright, kind of brightish blues and whites, almost like a periwinkle for his tunic, and has a leather jerkin on. Cousin.
Thank you so much for coming to my aid. I had no idea what she was talking about.
Yeah.
Well,
I'll have an ale as well, whatever is on tap.
of course. It's good to see you. It's been quite a long time. I'm surprised Goran let you in.
Well, fortunately, I have business here.
Oh, what business might that be? She says as she's pouring you both an ale and sets them in front of you.
Oh, I personally got a letter to meet someone named Here Gone, something along those lines.
Me too.
Of course.
She goes, well, no one that, to my knowledge, with that name has been here yet. I assume they'll show up today if that's what was arranged. But in the meantime, drink and let me know if I can get anything for you.
Can do.
Thank you so much, barmaiden.
Of course.
Tasha.
Gresha?
Tasha.
Tressa.
Tressa, yeah.
Oh,
Thank you
Tressa.
so much.
I'm screwed up too.
She goes, it has been a while, she says to you.
And I knew you for about a day and a half before I got removed.
Thank you so much, Tressa. I appreciate it.
Of course. Welcome to Havenhearth.
As the two elves are sitting at the bar, Aremos enters the tavern and sits down at his regular table and just gives a knowing look to the barmaiden.
She looks over and goes,
yeah.
And goes, aye, of course. And so she
Put
comes
my
over.
money on the table.
Yeah, she brings you your favorite drink. What would your favorite drink be that she would know your usual?
Chai tea.
Nice. Okay, they make it special just for Aramos. So very cool. And then while you guys are waiting, let's have Victor's character come in, and then something will happen soon to bring you all together.
All right. So I've probably been in the city for a few days. I'm a water genasi, so I'm probably staying somewhere where like the place I'm staying has a little bit of water access to that I can kind of be in.
Cool.
I've probably been to this bar a few times to kind of like get a feel for the area. And I've definitely came here early to gamble and just kind of like, be around here, kind of just getting to know people. I've been listening in, and when so I've been I'm definitely like at a table where kind of like we're playing some kind of like dragon chess or dice or some kind of game, and like I have my my cat, a fine familiar, that's like in the like on the ceiling cheating for me.
Nice.
So
That's
like,
awesome.
And then so like, but the second that I hear that name, Hirgon, my cat jumps down and is like at the feet of these two Eladrin, kind of just following them around. I was like maybe like nuzzling at the leg a little bit, but I'm definitely listening in as I'm finishing up whatever game I'm at.
Nice.
And then I'll make an entrance when and if the Hirgon thing goes anywhere.
Perfect. That's great. Well, while you guys are sitting and exploring this new tavern, a guy is going to walk in who catches your eye. He's an older guy. He looks like he used to be super strong, but he's, now that he's getting older, that's kind of starting to wane. He does have like very dirty old leather armor on, but it looks like he has a few elements of it that look like they're silver and gray potentially. But if so, passive perception 16. Perfect. Thank you, Charles. So yeah, you guys would all, I mean, he kind of comes in and like, he doesn't cause a ruckus or anything, but he just has like this commanding presence about him. So you would all notice he has a long gray beard, long hair. He looks like he's been traveling. He has a pretty worn travel cloak on over the leather armor as well. And he has a big long sword on his hip. But he's going to walk in and he's going to make eye contact with all four of you.
At the
and just,
same time.
like just kind of individually, like looking around, making eye contact, and just nodding at you all. And he goes and sits at a booth in the corner.
Stalks.
Beholder!
Right. But yeah. So he's gonna go and sit down at a booth in the corner, and he's not gonna order anything. He's just gonna kind of sit there and like he's kind of looking at you all, like waiting for you all, just like
Yeah.
knowingly.
I moved to
Cousin,
follow.
is this your friend?
My friend.
The one
no,
we're here to meet.
Perhaps I've never met him, so he kind of gave me the eye.
Oh, is that what that means?
I don't know.
Let's go say hi. When I get up.
Sounds great. Gonna
As you all walk over, he's gonna nod at you, and he knows each of your names. He goes, Caston, good to see you. I'm glad you made it from traveling so far.
Hi. I didn't know I knew you.
We've never met before. My name is Hergon. I am a
Hello,
legionnaire of the Star Wardens.
I bow.
He doesn't get up, but he bows back from his seat, and he says, "Come sit. We have much to discuss."
Who do you know who
slide.
we are?
Well, I'm as the name says, a servant of the Star Readers. They see much. The last Star Reader, Zirkalla, sent me a couple days before she died. She sent me to meet up with all of you here and to begin our journey of an important quest.
I sit just a little too close. Not like right on him, but I'm sitting like a little closer than is comfortable to like for just meeting a stranger.
He doesn't seem to be bothered by it. He seems pretty relaxed and confident. So
I'll sit across from them. But I'll just, it's of course, Zagana mentioned me. I'm Verkus Orc Slayer. Of course.
of course, I hope you'll accept my apologies. I did not consider the implications of where we were meeting when I began to arrange all of this. I hope you coming to this establishment was not too troublesome.
I had to take so many boats to get here. I have never been on a boat until recently.
Well, I hope the travel was pleasant. This is a beautiful world out there, and the more of it we get to see, the better, in my opinion.
Agreed. It was phenomenal.
Yes. I think my favorite time to look at the stars is at night on the sea.
I can tell you that it was absolutely fantastic. So many stars that I'd never seen before.
Well, wonderful. I'm glad that you've joined us. And he looks over at Rex and Victor's characters and says, "Come, you all should join us as well. The time is upon us."
I would have followed him as soon as he made the knowing eye contact with me and sat down.
Okay, cool. Yes. So he would look at you and say, "Aramos, it's good to finally meet you."
Same here.
Yes. And Victor, does your character go over as well with the cat?
Yeah, my cat goes back up to the bleachers to kind of like still scour out, but like yeah, I definitely like when I got the eye contact, I would have walked over to the table as well.
Awesome. And remind me of your character's name again, so I don't have him written out in front of me.
He goes by Tide.
That's right. Okay. So he's gonna look at you and go, I hope your journey here has been pleasant as well. It's good to meet you, Tide, and I hope that the sea here reminds you of home to some degree.
It's different, salty.
Yes. Well, now that all of you are here, I'm very glad that we've met. For interesting times are upon us for all of Jir'Haniya, and we have important work to do. I have been instructed not to tell you as much as I would like to, so we will need to work together to establish some things before I determine what I can and can't trust with you at this point in our journey. But I would like you all to follow me on a quest. We're going to go southwest of here. It could be dangerous. It will likely be dangerous, but the potential rewards are going to be very important for the coming events that will be transpiring in the future. I know this may seem odd, but surely you must have all heard legends of the Star Wardens doing the business of the Star Readers. it's true we've faded into obscurity for some time, but that time is coming to an end now.
It has been rather quiet recently. There hasn't been a lot of talk of your work in quite a few years.
Indeed.
What's different now?
The last Star Reader has died.
She's already dead.
Yes, she died shortly before I left to come and meet you all. Her final prophecy regarded all 4 of you. So I'm here to guide you and lead you as best I can, because I can say this, the powers that the Star Readers have possessed for so many thousands of years, obviously it's no longer with them as they're kind of no longer grace our world, but that power is going to transform, and ultimately it will rest upon the 4 of your shoulders. How that's going to look, I know some details, some things I don't know, but you are all very important and have been chosen to play key roles in this world's future.
Does this mean that you're the last of the Star Wardens, or has your order disbanded without Star Readers?
Many of our number have disbanded without Star Readers. We were already few in number before, so while I am not the last, I am likely the last one doing the work.
Last active member?
Yes. If you meet anyone else who does claim to be a Star Warden, I would not trust them, seeing as I'm the only Star Warden who's been entrusted with the final prophecy of the last Star Reader.
Do I believe him?
Roll an insight check.
I would also like to roll an insight check.
Yes.
I'm just gonna lean across across Hirgon and just, cousin, do we trust him?
I'm also I'm like tapping my foot, and then I I tap my my knee with my hand, and I give myself guidance as I'm kind of like looking him up and down.
Nice.
Might not help as much as I.
So out of character, I'm so glad you have that cantrip. It's like one of my favorites.
14.
Yeah. 23.
Ooh.
Cousin, do we trust him?
I don't know. Powers that be, do I trust him?
Powers that be.
So everyone who rolled like under an 18, he would seem pretty trustworthy. But with a 23, you would see that he doesn't seem to be lying about who he is, but it just seems like there's a lot he's not telling you. But it does seem like he is the Hirgon who wrote you all the letter and contacted you.
But he was upfront about being limited with the information. So
yeah. Hirgon, your prophetic words are like honey to my wounded soul. I have been in dire need of a purpose and direction in life, and I believe that your appearance and your summons of me is divine providence of the Platinum Dragon himself, and I am happy to follow you on this quest.
Good. I expected you would have such a reaction, but it is still pleasing for me to hear it.
As he's just telling us about all this new responsibility that we have doing, I finished my drink, and I'm like shaping water someone else's drink into my own mug, and I'm I've just like been doing that. Like as this conversation has gotten more and more serious, we're like, all right, so things to do.
Keen in on that. I'm just mage tide, right?
Mm-hmm.
Tuck me off.
Nice.
I like that. Yes. So, cousin, yes, we should. Hirgon.
I'm in.
No. Hirgon.
Yes.
It's good to know that you see the strength that we all can bring, and that you brought someone as well respected as myself. I assure you, your trust is not misplaced.
Hirgon he smiles knowingly and goes, the Star Reader selected all 4 of you, so I think everyone's unique talents and strengths will work together, and part of the prophecy that I can tell you is that you all will get something that is valuable to you individually over the course of this venture.
Marvelous.
Yes. Well, so I'm just checking the chat to make sure I didn't miss anything. But Hirgon's going to go, well, I know some of you would like to eat the food at this place. Some of you might not. I've been traveling, so I would like to eat something, and we leave in the morning. Does anyone have any pressing questions or concerns?
So
I can buy you all rooms for the night.
As you mentioned the food, I was like, there's actually another tavern not too far from here, the Laughing Dragon, that has better food. You come here to drink, you go there to rest and eat.
My friend, yes. Let's spend your money there. Absolutely.
My cousin seems very excited about this prospect, so I am in.
Hirgon kind of strokes his beard and goes, the prophecy didn't... Well, yes, we can go eat there if you'd like. I've already purchased rooms.
Is that specific?
I assure you the cook there is very skilled.
Very well. I've already purchased rooms for all of you here in case you need it for the night.
Then maybe we should stay here.
We can go and eat there and then come back here.
I have a feeling that this money might be a problem for me.
Yeah.
Well, Hirgon kind of looks at Caston and goes, well, you're with me. I'll make sure that money is of no major concern.
I am in your debt.
We are all in need of magic
Literally.
items.
Literally.
So Hirgon looks at you all and says, so where do we dine?
I mean, if we're going to be sleeping here, we might as well order. Keep the tab going.
We're here already.
Sure.
They make a mean grilled cheese here.
Grilled cheese and chai tea. This is the place to go.
The gilded mug, everyone. So Hirgon would kind of wave over Tressa, and she would come over and serve you all dinner. And Hirgon pays for it all, and he tips pretty well, so it seems like he has a decent amount of money. So, do you guys want to...
How is the grilled cheese?
Tressa goes, it's better than when you used to work here, is what we've heard, but I still, I wouldn't trust it.
All right.
Do you order the grilled cheese?
Sure.
When he's eating it, I'm gonna use prestidigitation on it to make it delicious.
Nice. Oh, that's harsh.
Just take a bite, and it's just like that Ratatouille moment.
I'm just like, he seems to be hit or miss on this place. I want to keep playing into that.
That's fantastic. Hirgon also gets a grilled cheese and seems like he likes it.
I leave it how it is.
So he looks at the 4 of you as you're eating and goes, why don't you each share story of a time you accomplished something great, or something that you did, if you have any stories of battle or adventure?
I created a tiny moon.
A tiny moon?
Yeah.
Ah, yes. You should tell that story to everyone here, Todd. I think they would be fascinated by it.
I mean, it's what got me exiled, but yeah, it was trying to finish up my my final project for the semester, and it was supposed to be a moon about this big, and then it just didn't stay that size. Nobody drowned, everyone was fine. But now there's a tiny moon underwater if you're ever in town, so that's fun.
That would be something I would hope to see with my own eyes one day. Fascinating, to be sure.
You can, my skin is like kind of like light blue. I have white hair, but like when you look, kind of like that, like when there's like just like a little bit of water on like something dark, you can kind of see a sheen on it.
Yeah.
You see like a reflective like shine of like almost like a dark lake, like it's like nighttime. But then there's like just like a new moon, kind of like it's over. You see a light circle, and it's kind of like it's almost like you're looking at it from underwater.
Oh.
And you just kind of see like just like a sheen this coming off my skin is what you see right now.
That's cool.
As I kind of like you mentioned, like, oh, like I'd like to see that. I kind of just like I think about it, and then it just kind of like sheens on my skin for a second, maybe unnoticeable, but like I was like, that's what got me kicked out of my home. But that's something that I definitely did.
You seem to be glowing about it, so it must not have been terrible.
Well, it was cool, for the science. It just wasn't as appreciated as I thought it was going to be.
What you
You
gain?
made an entire planetary object. I think that's amazing.
Small celestial object just made of magic, but it just sometimes we miscalculate. That happens.
Math is hard.
Math is hard, especially if you mess up at the beginning and like that's it.
Yeah.
One of my proudest accomplishments has been mentoring my 2 younger brothers in the art of war. So I trained them. They were absolutely undisciplined, wild kids, and I got
So you've
them.
been to war.
Yes, I have been an active member of the Haven Hearth Guard for the last 6 years until quite recently. But training up my brothers in the art was one of my proudest moments.
Well, Aramos, your diligence and training and experience will be invaluable to our endeavors.
Thank you.
Well, for myself, my accomplishments should go without needing to regale you. I'll tell you anyway. So, I one day making my way along the
Downtown.
sun-dappled downtown. The sun-dappled pathways. I saw a band of orcs about to harry this just beautiful farmland that I often get ingredients from. Now, I'm not one to take a life, but I'm not going to sit there and allow innocents to be harmed either. So I took up arms and I was able to slay 7 orcs single-handedly and took but 1 arrow to the leg. Not the knee, the leg. It's often asked, but right thigh, there's a sizable hole. That has healed, but...
Maybe Tide can fill it with a moon.
Like a Tide Pod?
Like a Tide Pod.
What is a Tide Pod?
I think it's a pod that you just put in.
Tiny little moon that you insert into my cousin's thigh.
As he's like telling the story of like fighting orcs, Tide is like just drinking just a little bit extra and just like being very involved in the story, be like looking him up and down, be like, where's this extra hole that he speaks of?
I mean, I can show you, but that costs extra.
I didn't say that out.
Sorry.
Good to know you're willing.
He's like very much the entire time he is boisterous and standing and regaling these tales in a very practiced way, and like pointing to his right thigh about halfway up where he claims there is an injury or the remnants of an injury.
Hergon's just kind of stroking his beard and smiling politely at the story.
So. I haven't really done anything great. I moved out of my mom's house recently. That's a good thing.
You will do great things, Hergon says. You will.
I also mapped out a lot of the stars in the northern part of, is it Jir'Haniya?
Yes.
How do you say it?
Jir'Haniya. Yeah.
That's impressive.
Yeah, I can show you. Do you want to see?
I mean,
yeah.
Sometime, yes.
So I dig into my shirt and I pull out this like baseball-sized spherical like orb of obsidian.
Nice.
And I just like, okay, all right, watch. And my hand glows a little bit, and through the orb, this like dome, kind of like if you're at like a planetarium, this like dome appears. It's like just a little dim, and like little star constellations are just dotted all over this dome. And so I start pointing them out to you. Well, not like out to you specifically, but out to people. I'm like, so that's the one we're currently under. It's the Fire of Despair. Makes you move a little slower. Don't worry too much about that one. But that one over there is the Tree of Nearfint. You get a little bit more health from that one. It actually helps you feel a little bit better. I can tell you about all of these another time, but there's a lot of them.
I like peer your star map, and like I'm assuming that's like, is it kind of you see it from like our vantage point? Is that kind of like how it's cast?
So how I have it, like whatever, no matter what, it always orients to fit how the stars would be seen in the night sky or in the sky. Nice. It doesn't necessarily have to be night.
So like down near the center where like where we are, I do like a little spark with my presentation. I'm like, that's where my moon is. if you wanted to chart that.
I'm gonna add that to my map.
You can name it Tide if you'd like.
Tide moon.
That is quite an impressive feat. I've never seen anything like this in all my days.
Yeah, I chiseled this from a rock. Thanks. And I put it back.
Hirgon nods and goes, "The stars are beautiful. Even when rendered through magic, they are wondrous to look upon. So thank you for that,
It's literally my favorite thing to look at of all time."
Excellent. The stars spoke well when they chose the four of you. Now, I am weary from travel, and we have more traveling to do on the morrow, so I'm going to retire to my room unless anyone else needs anything from me, and then we can meet here for breakfast and try to leave at first light. Does that work for everyone?
Yes, sir.
Great. It was wonderful to meet all of you in person. And Hirgon's going to get up and go to walk upstairs to one of the rooms that he's rented. So what do you guys want to do the rest of the night? Do you want to fast forward to the next morning, or do you guys have anything fun you want to do, or keep talking to each other in character? Whatever you guys would like.
D&D Beyond is working for me now. If you wanted to check it.
Cool.
I think we're good for unless we wanted to like do like a quick stop at a general store for stuff in the morning.
Yeah, it might actually be easier to do that now because it's like early evening still. It's not super late at night.
Okay.
And it sounds like Hirgon wants to leave first thing in the morning. So.
We could. I mean, we don't have to role play as shopping if we want to just kind of add stuff and subtract gold on this side.
Totally cool
if everyone's okay with that, like
Yeah.
we can definitely do shopping montages on other days when when everyone has money. We can.
Rations.
Yeah. Is there a vendor who accepts like holly berries and chestnuts as payment?
You can go like ask like the weird merchants on the edge of town.
Willow bark and grass whistles.
Yeah, some barter markets,
No, I'm good.
Cool.
It's just like a montage of all of us like trying on armor and weapons, and then he's just sitting there sipping on water. Just like
that pan flute is the background music.
Nice. I love it. Well, sweet. Well, then I say we just jump ahead to the next morning. You all would either be able to go if you like Eremos, who lives in the city. You guys can all go stay at your place or stay at one of the rented rooms. Like I said, you guys are getting the vibe that Hirgon seems like he has a decent amount of money, actually, so he's not really worried if you use one of the rooms or not. But the next morning, you all have breakfast at the Gilded Mug, and it is pretty mediocre. It's
I ate beforehand.
Nice. Yes, it's grilled cheeses and like some like ham that doesn't look like it was cooked very well, and that's pretty much their breakfast selection. So.
And these grilled cheeses are left over from last night.
Oh yeah. The leftovers last night.
This is delicious. Like, wow, city food.
This is why I call it the Gilded Slug.
Oh,
I'll go out for breakfast. Meet everyone else out here.
I eat everyone's portion of breakfast.
I love it.
It's like, you guys are really missing out. This is fantastic.
Nice. Well, real quick, Hirgon is going to pull out a map and show you all the region around here, and he points to something that is to the southwest, called the Mound of Mulcarian. And pretty much all of you, I think, since you're in Havenhearth, would have heard of this place. I don't think any of you have been there. It's a large stone mound that juts out from the grassy plains of South Erigspur. And there's lots of myths and legends about what lies inside the mound. But pretty much the consistency of the tales is that there's dangerous stuff inside, but also there's legends of treasure and magical objects and stuff. So Hirgon points to the Mound of Mulcarian and says, "We shall follow the river and make our way there. Should take us a couple days. If we move swiftly, I'm hoping we can arrive within 5 days. And we're going to explore the ruins and get some stuff that we need from there."
Are we going to take a river-bound vessel down the river?
No, the river runs eastward, so it would be pretty hard. Yeah, because it comes from the mountains in the west. So I think we can travel on foot, or I can rent us steeds, whichever you have a preference. I would vote for steeds to help us travel quicker.
Steeds.
Great.
Sure. I've never ridden a horse. It should be fun.
It's a lifetime of firsts for you, friend.
Well, I did just move out of my mother's house.
That's true.
Excellent. Well, I'm going to go and secure steeds. I'll meet you at the main gate to the city. If you all have any final preparations, let us depart at the end of the hour.
Okay.
So Hirgon gets up and he leaves you guys, and he goes to presumably get steeds. But he also leaves a little satchel of a couple gold to pay for the breakfast and everything. So he leaves actually a pretty hefty amount, more than you would normally need to pay for that. So he leaves like 20 gold, whereas, yeah, it's quite a bit. So do you guys? Wow. Yeah, he doesn't say anything. He just leaves the 20 gold. Like, do you guys want to?
This means nothing to Kastan.
Okay. Yeah.
To me, him leaving it there would be it would seem like it was intended for the establishment, so I would leave it to the establishment.
Cool. Okay. Well, yeah. So
Garrus will leave it. He'll never steal from an establishment. Cool. Doesn't think it was worth it. It absolutely judges him for paying that much, but
like
300% tip, like.
Yeah, Goran the bouncer, he's there in the morning doing the breakfast, and he looks over at Verkus and goes, "Oh, you've eaten at our establishment twice now, lad. Is this becoming your new hangout?
Are you going 8 here. 8 here. You're funny. I miss your jokes."
He can't say the same for you.
He like tussles his hair and like briskly walks away as he does that.
Yes, you hear the dwarf go like cursing at you in Dwarvish. So
don't know what you're saying.
Just kind of like leans down into the dwarf's face and be like, "My cousin hates it here," and then also tussles his hair.
The dwarf just looks at you guys and goes, "Good riddance," as he goes back to cleaning the bar. So that's fun. Well, as you guys are going towards the to meet up with Hirgon, presumably, you would notice, Verkus would especially notice, but you all would notice that there seems to be a little bit of activity with city guards. And Eremos, you would, of course, you would probably recognize some of the city guards, and they're going around looking a little bit stressed out, and it seems like they're kind of carrying some parchments that they're giving out to certain people.
If there's one that I recognize that's like by himself and not with a partner, I'd pull him aside and try to get some information.
Cool. Yeah, you would recognize kind of a younger soldier. Your time and hers didn't overlap too much, so you don't know her super well. But her name's Jorah, and you see her, and she's kind of looking around like she's waiting to meet someone, but she's alone, so you could approach her.
Yeah, I kind of like walk up, not directly facing her, and I say, "Jorah, what ill news are you guys disseminating?"
One of the villages, 2 days ride south of here, apparently they've been besieged by a band of goblins that are acting very strange. There's all sorts of rumors about it. But it sounds like they have a pretty sizable force, and they've taken over the town. So we are looking to recruit people to go and deal with it. And there's the Council of Havenheart actually just put out a reward for clearing the town of all goblins. For any warrior who does this, they would actually get 250 gold.
So, we are in cahoots with someone new, so we will talk to him about this, and maybe we'll get back to you.
Great. She hands you a piece of parchment. It looks like she has a bunch of small pieces, and it has the name of the town and kind of a rough map of the region to help you find it if you were to go there. And it's a village called Oakmore, we'll call it.
Okay.
Yep.
And I tuck it into my armor and head to the main gate.
Cool. Yeah, at the main gate, you all find Hirgon. He's got 5 horses, one for him and one for each of you. And then they have nice saddles that you could easily attach a pack to for travel and stuff.
Great.
And so he's selected the horses for each of you. Verkus, you've got a strong-looking black stallion, and Caston has a chestnut horse, and Aramos, you will have, I guess, a white horse. I'm just making these up as we go, and Hirgon would also have a white horse, and then Tide, you would have a kind of like hazel colored steed. And so Hirgon he mounts his horse and says, "Let us ride for the mound of Malkirian."
I cast.
Oh, go ahead.
I cast Speak with Animals, and I look at my horse, and I say, "Hello, new friend. I am very excited to take our first journey."
The horse kind of looks at you and goes, in horse language,
yeah, the rest of you just hear kind of like wild berries head.
The horse would go, "Wow, I've never spoken to someone who wasn't a horse before. This is fascinating. What's your name?"
My name is Kastan. What is your name?
The owners call me Bub. I guess that's my name.
Well, I am happy to meet you, Bub. I'm excited to get started. How does this work?
Well, I mean, I'm only a 2.5-year-old horse, so I've
so
ridden
young.
a few people, but I think you just get on top of me. Or no, I think you just get on top of me and we go places. Sounds exciting.
Yeah. And I just kind of like flop over, like not seated, like I'm just like bending over this horse. I'm ready, Bub.
You hear Bub kind of go, most people kind of sit. I'm not sure what you're doing, but if this is a better way, we can try it.
I'll figure it out. And I kind of look at Hirgon, and I kind of mimic what he's doing. Everyone meet Bub.
Bub looks around, and Caston, you would hear him in horse go, "Wow, can they speak horse too?"
I don't think so. No, I don't think so.
Well, tell them I say hi. I like making new friends.
Did you guys hear that? Can you hear him?
Yeah, you just hear
the neighing. Yeah.
He's saying hi.
Hello, horse.
Hey.
The horse is just kind of flicking its ears around, looking at you all.
While this is not happening, I will take out the note, the bounty mission that I got from the guard, and I will present it to Hirgon and say, "Oakmore to the south is besieged by strange goblins. They are seeking people to help with this dire threat. Is that completely out of our way to the mound?"
Well, it would be a bit of a detour. He kind of looks over the map and goes, "Ideally, I'd like not to tarry, but yeah, I think you all."
Is Oakmore the town that I had helped previously?
No, it's not. But it's the town you held previously is on the way to Oakmore. So you probably have been to Oakmore before in the past or passed through or something. Yeah. Yeah, actually, it would be known for its it has nice vineyards there in the town, so you would have had some wine there before. But yeah, Hirgon goes, Innocent people are in danger. This isn't
And
part
we
of the
help.
prophecy. The prophecy never said anything about this, but it would hasten all of you working together as a team. I don't know. I feel divided on this.
You feel divided on helping others.
Sometimes one must make sacrifices and do what is the most important and the most pressing.
Is there a benefit to going out of our way here?
There is a significant reward. 250 gold pieces are on the flyer. We could probably persuade or negotiate for more if we needed.
Is that a lot?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And also, we'd be saving a village, saving lives.
I'm more about
Yes, yes.
that than I am about this money.
I mean, it's just it's more work, but I mean, as long as it's not free work.
I respect that.
Hergon goes. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say any work isn't going to be free work, because then your name is put out there, and then that's clout, that's publicity, and your name gets known.
Mm-hmm.
It's good.
Oh, Olive loves that people know her. Olive is in.
Who's Olive?
Oh, and I dig in my other pocket, and I pull out this little mouse-looking creature. Hold on, I'll show you.
That's delightful.
I was like,
Oh.
what are we?
Oh, very cool.
Oh,
Did you draw that, Matthew? That's great.
No, it's printed. I am not artistically inclined. This is Olive, and she's just a little mouse creature. I'm like, she's not as big as a horse, but she does come in handy sometimes. And she's just kind of like eating. She's just kind of like eating the holly berries and chestnuts that I keep talking about, and I just like put her back in my pocket.
Nice. Yeah, Hirgon nods and goes, "You all are noble and make a good point about saving lives. Again, I probably am over speaking here about the prophecy and which things should remain secret, but noteworthiness is likely to be in your futures, so maybe starting to make a name for yourselves and letting people know that you're a force for good could be helpful. And also this mention of something strange about the goblins. With the last Star Reader dead, strange things could be happening in these lands, so I do think
Maybe
it's
the prophecy was incomplete.
Looking into the future is always an inexact thing, so yes, let us ride for this Oakmore. I'm glad you all have persuaded me, because at first I was hesitant to deviate from our path, but this shall be good. Let us make haste.
You, Hirgon. Thank you for your concession. Let's go.
Of course.
I put
Great.
Olive on Bub's head, and she's just gonna hold on.
If you can still understand Bub, he's gonna go, "Wow, so many new friends today. This is delightful. Your little friend
Olive
is so
doesn't
soft on my head. I love it."
She's very soft, very frequently, until she's had honey. Then she's just sticky.
Ah, yes, sticky is not good, but soft is good.
I see that you put Olive on the head, and like I can see like, oh, she's kind of struggling to balance, so I like make a tiny little harness, like a on the
nice.
head for Olive to ride on. I can
It's
make
like a
a tiny
hat for
non-magical.
Bub.
It's a little hat for the horse, but it has a perfect little seat for the thing. Just it
I
kind of
love it.
perches in there.
That is delightful.
Just a little non-magical trinket I can prestidigitate. Just like, here you go.
Nice.
Thanks.
Well, yeah, so the ride to Oakmore goes by nice and smooth. You do have to camp for one night on the way there, because it's 2 days south of the city. So the first night camping goes by without incident. Is there anything special you guys want to do, or just continue on?
I'm taking note of all the new stars in the area
nice.
and adding them to my map.
Excellent.
I'm definitely keeping watch for the first portion of the night.
Cool, yeah, and Hirgon volunteers to take a watch.
I'll take a watch as well.
Cool. Yeah, but Hirgon seems relaxed. He says, these parts are, lots of ranches and small towns and not any large wildlife, so we should be fine.
I spent a good part, like the beginning of us, just kind of like I have a sketch pad where I'm kind of just like, doodling, painting. And then I definitely don't take a watch and sleep.
Nice.
And you guys will notice as soon as we leave Havenhearth, Aramos really just relaxes, and like he wears his hood down, cloak open. You can see he is a crystal dragonborn, and he wears a set of chainmail that is emblazoned with the emblem of the platinum dragon.
Love it.
That's awesome. Hirgon
Yeah,
remarks that at one point during the travel, he says, "That is a fine armor. How long have you had it?"
This I made myself in my apprenticeship. It was actually my capstone piece when I graduated from an apprentice to a journeyman.
That is impressive work. You should be very proud of it.
Thank you. It has kept me safe many scuffles on the city streets.
Well, hopefully you won't need to use it against these goblins, but based on what we've heard, I fear that it will likely come to some sort of combat.
Are goblins some kind of deer?
Sadly, no. They're much fiercer than deer. They're short, typically green-skinned, and some of the tribes are peaceful. Some can be a little more hostile and angry, like the one that we're going towards seems to be the latter, unfortunately.
We'll have to protect Bub and the other steeds at all costs.
Absolutely. Yes.
While we're traveling, my find familiar is an owl that's kind of just flying above us. I just want to put that out there so it doesn't just randomly come up later.
Yeah, that's awesome. Cool. I love owls. They're my favorite. So, yeah. Great. Well, yeah. So then the next day, you guys look at the map as you're leaving your campground and kind of, putting out the fire from the last night and having some breakfast. And it looks like you guys would arrive in Oakmore probably about 4 p.m. in the afternoon. So you guys have another day of travel. And as you get closer, there is kind of like it's not a mountain; it's just a big hill that kind of overlooks the town. And it's marked on the map. It's a big enough hill, so that's to the north of the town. So Hirgon kind of points at that and says, "This would probably be a good place for us to get a lay of the land and see what's going on." So, as you guys get to the bottom of this hill, you do see it. It's kind of it's a grassy hill, but it rises up pretty tall, and then the town is going to be on the other side. So, at the foot of this hill, Hirgon stops and says, "How should we proceed? Should we leave our horses here and go up on foot? What do you all think is best?"
Will the horses be safe alone?
Hirgon kind of shrugs.
Most likely.
I can scout a bit ahead to kind of give us we could find a safe place to leave the horses if need to, and kind of figure out where we want to proceed from. I think if we could find some cover while we proceed the town might be best. Get a lay of the land.
Excellent idea, Tide. Yes. Would you scout with your familiar, or would you go yourself? Or
I would definitely get a sky view of what's going on here.
good. Let us do that. So I presume your owl would then go and fly over the hill to look at stuff.
Yeah, I would just kind of like keep up, just kind of like see first of all, like if it's like, because I can be within 100 feet of it, so like we can
cool.
move, like, so I'll move us forward as they see that it's like safe to like move forward.
Perfect.
And if I see like a goblin or if I see something, I'll like make note of that and either move us around or to a way that we could kind of like not be in its path, so that we can like maybe either set up for an ambush or set up to listen in.
Cool. Yeah, so you would see that the hill is safe, and then your owl's kind of able to fly over and get a view of the town. So you see that this town is it looks like its population was maybe 200, so kind of a larger town, but pretty small. And it's there's like one temple in towards the center of the town that is 2 stories tall, but all the other buildings are pretty much all wood, and they're pretty much all single story, just homes mainly. There's a little bit of a main street near that temple where it looks like there's a few shops, maybe a tavern, but you do see some signs of battle. There was some fires there recently. It looks like a few of the buildings are burnt down. And you do see some goblins patrolling around the edge of town. They're going in little bands of like 4 or 5, and you would count 6 of those patrols. But it's hard to see.
All right.
Yeah. No, so that's that would be pretty much all you see. And then also to the left of that big hill, there is some forests that kind of lead up towards the town. So as Verkus would remember, there are some vineyards on the edge of town. It looks like a few of those have been burned down also, but that forest could provide you some cover to get up close to at least part of the town.
Cool. So I definitely am relaying this as we're going, and I think I do lead us in the forest direction. I think I mean we probably find like a safe place to like leave the horses as we're entering the forest.
Cool.
That way they kind of have cover of their own.
Do we tie them up or just leave them to roam?
We tie them up.
Oh,
they'll be okay.
Don't worry, everyone. We're currently under the tree of Nearfand, so everyone's just feeling a little bit more energized and healthy today. I think we'll be fine.
All right.
Fascinating.
Cool. Well, yeah, going in the forest, it looks like you do find a couple people who were presumably townsfolk that were slain in the forest. They have arrow wounds or sword wounds there. So it looks like some of them tried to flee into the forest when they were attacked by goblins. And you also see like there are a few pieces of armor or weapons that look like they would be the size of goblins. So it looks like the battle took its place.
You said that there's like tracks that are showing signs that some people tried to flee into the forest. Would I be able to figure out if some people actually made it into the forest and are hiding within the forest?
Yeah, can you do an investigation or a survival check, or like a nature or
survival, please?
I'll
do
give
survival.
I'll give you a guidance. So
yes.
You kind of see like the way that like because like I'm not a cleric or I'm not divine in any way. I learned this magic like at school in some way. So I kind of like my sorcerer magic. I'm kind of like learning to like copy it. So like I kind of like as you're trying to figure out what to do, I kind of just put magic, like my own magic, into you, so your senses kind of open up a little bit. Like you can hear a little bit more. You get your senses are a little bit sharper.
I love it, and it gives me an extra D4, right?
A D4.
Nice.
Oh no. So I rolled a natural 2.
Okay.
With my 4 on a D4.
Okay.
That's a 12.
Hey.
Yeah, so with a 12, I mean, because this happened pretty recently, and like people who are fleeing aren't really going to hide their tracks. So, leading away from the town, you do see some tracks. It looks like someone might have made it. You'd have to go and kind of track it down and kind of see where the tracks lead. But there is, based on what you're seeing, you're like, there's a pretty good indicator that there's a good chance that
some people made it.
Yeah, and they might still be in the region and have information on what happened that could be helpful. So
while he's looking for those tracks, I inspect the presumed corpses just to make sure they're actually dead, see how long they've been dead for.
Yeah, so because it took time for like word to travel back to Havenhearth about this, it looks like they died 4 days ago, and they are all deceased. Yeah, so
okay.
As he's kind of like Verkus has given me like information on where the tracks are kind of leaded, can I look from the sky, do a perception check?
Yes, but like I guess roll for it with a perception. It's going to be harder because there's tree cover. So yeah.
And then I would use my owl. So if I'm looking through my owl's eyes, am I using my perception or the owl's perception?
The owl's perception.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think it's get a plus wisdom, right?
Yeah, wisdom.
So it's a plus
the owl should be proficient. It should be proficient.
They get there's something about proficiencies, but I do get advantage on perception checks that rely on sight.
Okay, that's good.
Good. Yeah, that was because owls are super perceptive, so that fits.
Insight, yeah.
Yeah. Let me see. Roll 2d20 plus 1.
Oh,
so 19.
19. Okay.
Great.
So I'll tell you what you see in just a moment. But Rex, can you roll an investigation check on those bodies?
Yes.
Cool. Just searching them for like if there's any interesting trinkets or stuff. If you roll high, I wanted to give you a little something.
Like identifying information. That's what I would be looking for.
Cool. Yeah, so you could do
dog tags.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was that a nat 1, Aramis?
A -1.
Oh no.
Or a 0.
A 0.
So you're like, these people are dead. That's
Yeah.
that's
You'll
Maybe.
start investigating the meaning of death within yourself.
exactly.
I think so. Maybe you got a 0 because I was literally planning like with these bodies, I want to druid craft just moss over them so that they decompose and kind of have like a burial of sorts,
Yeah,
just to respect the dead and to like allow them to rest.
that's very fitting. I like that. That's cool.
Leave
see
leave
that-
the faces uncovered in case we find the family of the bereaved or family of the deceased.
I
I wanna
see
be
that
able to-
he does the druid craft, and I also cast druid craft, but like because my magic is different, like it's I guess not druidic, but like I'm more like feeding magic into what he's already doing to make it spread more, as if there's like a double effect to it.
Nice.
I have a lot of cantrips, which is fantastic.
That's awesome.
I'm saying this.
Yeah, I've seen his spell list. It is ridiculous. Like you have 2 first level spell slots and like 87
I
different
have
spells.
six spells that I could cast.
Nice.
Jeez.
Oh, that's gonna be fun. But yeah, so as the moss burial is happening, with your 19, your owl flying over sees that in a few parts of the forest where the trees are thicker, it does look like there are some spots where people could be hiding, and your owl does see a little bit of movement in one of those. So it looks like you found someone.
We might have been able to locate where some townsfolk have escaped to. If we want to rendezvous with them, we might be at a better idea of how to get into town.
Yes,
Great idea.
I agree.
Oh, by the way, while you guys are doing this too, Hirgon's going to kind of get uneasy and say, I'm going to stay and guard the horses while you all figure things out. I'm not the fighter I used to be. I don't think I'd really contribute as much, so I'm going to guard the horses.
Would you like Olive to accompany you?
I think
She's
your friend
not a
would come-
fighter either.
True. I would watch over her if you gave me Olive, but she might come in handy too. We don't know exactly what's in the town. Maybe she could scout.
She'll be fine.
Okay.
She's on my shoulder.
Nice. So yeah, so Hirgon leaves you guys, and then yeah, do you guys go through the forest to try to figure out where the owl spotted those people?
Yeah, I think we'll
Absolutely.
see if we could find
Yes.
some townsfolk.
Yeah, I'll
some
try
escaped
and
folk.
follow the tracks as well as follow what is being told to me by Tide.
Cool.
Yeah, kind of like I thought it's the same trail that you had caught earlier, and I kind of just like, oh, like you lost it here. Like, let's and we kind of just like we're probably tag teaming the way through.
I'm
Nice.
happy to start lending assistance where I can as well. I just keep going like as we're going through. I'm like forest boy, forest boy, forest boy.
Nice.
I think
Yeah.
as we go, I'm also
Oh.
covering our tracks.
Oh, cool. Nice. Yeah. So as you guys get there, there's no need to really do a stealth check. I mean, with the eyes in the sky plus you're following tracks, you do see that there is kind of like a little ravine that has some thick trees on the edges, so it kind of makes a natural little hiding area. And so in this small little ravine, kind of with a lot of just kind of like a partially fallen tree in the copse of trees as well. So it's a pretty well hidden place. But now that you guys know to look there, you do see that there are 3 humanoids hiding down. They don't see you, but it looks like they're kind of keeping an eye on the direction you came from, roughly. So you guys do have the option to announce yourself or sneak up if you want to do stealth check or however you
I
guys
will
want to do it.
I will announce myself. I will say, "Hail, folks from Oakmore. We're here from Havenhearth to investigate your strange goblins."
Oh, you hear an older guy go, "Oh, thank the gods!" and they start coming out. And you see that there's a middle-aged woman, and then an older guy, and then a younger guy who looks like he has a pretty bad his arm's injured, so he has like a sling on. He's younger. He looks like he's in his late 20s, early 30s. So those are the 3 people you see, and they come over and stand by you, and they just start thanking you and are like, "Oh, thank you for rescuing us. We've been hiding out here for days. We didn't know if the goblins are roaming around trying to hunt down for more of us. It's been a nightmare."
I will approach the young man and say, "May I tend your arm?"
Oh, yes, please. That would be a blessing because I got slashed by a goblin sword, and these fine folks from the town, my friends, they did what they could on me, but I'm worried it's not going to heal correctly, so I'd appreciate that.
I will reach out, touch his arm, and expend 2 points of lay on hands and heal
Nice.
it.
Perfect. Yeah, the wound closes up, and he goes, thank you. What's your name?
I'm Aramos.
Aramos, nice to meet you. My name is Devin. I'm from Oakmore, or what's left of it now.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us about these strange goblins?
Yes, they came in the night. I've met goblins. I worked as a caravaner very briefly before I moved back home to help my parents as they got older. But yeah, these goblins were acting strange. They didn't seem to be speaking the normal goblin tongue, and a few of them were using strange magic, setting fires, or I can't be sure. It all happened so quick, but it looked like a few of them maybe like moved through walls. It was they overwhelmed us. I mean, we deal with bandits from time to time robbing the orchards near town. So we have a decent city guard, but they just cut through us within an hour. It was horrible. It was a massacre, and I, pulled out my old sword and tried to do what I could, but it all happened too quick. So we've been hiding here ever since.
How many are there?
It's hard to tell. At least a couple dozen. I don't think more than 100, but maybe close to 50.
I may not know much, but I can tell you the 4 of us against 50 goblins may not be the best idea, especially if they can phase through walls.
Yeah.
I don't think even the tree of Nearfand can help us here.
The older man, as he hears you guys talking, he goes, I noticed that they, again, it was hard to see, but it looks like they were concentrating their forces around our small temple in town. I'm not sure. That seemed weird. I figured they would go for the orchards and the vineyards, if they wanted to get lots of food or find gold or any finer objects, that would be the place to go.
Who is your temple dedicated to?
It's a small local god. He's not really worshipped anywhere else outside of Oakmore, but his name is Dormand, and he is an ancient god of harvest and plenty. I think we're the only place that I know of in the whole world that worships him. He's kind of a local patron of our town. Our temple is small. I mean, some of the more devout in the town, again, it's mostly, older folks such as myself. Sometimes on special holidays, we'll burn incense or make an offering of some grain to commemorate the harvest. That's it. I don't know why the goblins would be making a beeline for the temple.
Where
It seems
is the
strange to me.
temple? Where's the temple in your town?
It's right at the head of Main Street. There's the town graveyards behind it, and there's a general store, and the only tavern and inn that we have in town is across the street. But yeah, it seemed weird to me that they would go there.
Did the goblins have a leader?
The older man says, not that I could see, and the younger guy, he says, I thought I caught a glimpse of one goblin, but again, it all happened so quick. But he looks like he might have been wearing a robe. But he was surrounded by a lot of other goblins, so it was hard to get a good look at him. But that's the group that, like the old man here says, they were going for the temple. Didn't make sense tactically, but again, I'm just a caravan guard, or used to be before I moved home to help the family farm.
And they just ran you all out of town?
Yes, they came just before midnight. Again, I don't know what their motives were. They were just killing indiscriminately. It was horrific.
Well, from what my cousin says, your wine is one of the best in the region. So I personally need to make sure that it survives this because I have to try it.
the older of the two people, they kind of nod and go, "Yes, thank you. Our Oakmore wine is widely respected in the area."
Wonder if there's a way to either drive them out of town or is there like a town well or something that everyone shares here?
There's a small lake, and a lot of the water we get for the farming kind of comes from there, and some little rivers that run off it. But I think there's an old well actually out by the graveyard, behind
I'm
the temple, but
wondering.
it's not really used often.
Well, I'm just wondering what what the goblins are drinking right now. Something that we could maybe use to I don't know, to I wouldn't say poison exactly, but I do have an idea if we could get to their food source.
Yeah, they're probably pulling some water from nearby rivers. But with food, I would have to imagine if there's a large force of them and they need to eat. Um, our little town tavern had a decent stockpile of food, or the general goods store also sold some food. So they might have been pulling from there for their food supply.
Yeah. What's everyone think? What's the best? How are we? Any ideas on how we're going to get into this town?
We have
I
to be
think our
tactical about it because 4 versus 50 would not go well for us. But goblins are also well known to be kind of dim-witted and weak in smaller numbers. So if we could pick them off slowly, or draw one watch patrol out at a time and finish them off that way.
We could do that. We could set up a series of traps. Hmm.
I like your idea of feeding them some contaminated food. What if one of us could fell a deer and then place it conveniently in the city where they would just find it and likely eat it? I think that would be a good way of delivering a poison.
So why I didn't want to call it poison is I have this plant that I grew. And there's an effect on it that if you were to not take so well to it the first time, it might put you to sleep. So I'm thinking if we could hit their water or put it in wine, we might be able to knock them out for a second. But that wouldn't, I mean, it wouldn't give us a horrible amount of time.
Not so much for food.
I think maybe our best bet's to go and observe the town to see what we can find out before heading in.
There was also the idea of picking them out a little bit at a time. If they're in we've noticed that they're in little pods of 4 or 5. So if we could slowly
War of attrition.
lure them.
I would be happy. I'm not very stealthy. I make a lot of noise with this chainmail, but I would be more than happy to rush them, just make a lot of noise and draw their attention, and then run back into the forest, and then use
Leroy Jenkins.
We could definitely make note of their patrol routes. I mean, I don't know how organized goblins are. They probably are just free flowing through the city in groups of 4.
Actually, if I figure while you're talking to these townspeople and making a plan that your owl could go do a little more recon in the town, and you would notice that these goblins seem pretty regimented in their patrol routes, which is uncharacteristic of.
Do their patrol routes cross, or do they kind of each have their own?
They each kind of have their own that they're doing it, and then your owl would see once that a group came from somewhere in the center of town. He didn't quite get a good look at it, but they kind of relieved one of the patrols, and that other patrol went back towards the center of town.
So they do a changing of the guard.
Correct.
So we do have an opportunity to take out
Chunks.
Maybe a section or 2 before they notice that the guard is switching out.
Correct.
we could also make it look like the guard is not defeated, but maybe that, I don't know, we can figure something out. But like we could probably definitely take,
yeah.
well, like, you know, if we make the scene look like they went off to have some fun, or maybe abandoned their patrol in a way, the new guard will either spend more time searching for them, or just continue the patrol. Either way, we cannot leave a messy scene where we go.
Where does the is there, with this forest, because you said the forest is decently close to the town, are we seeing that one or two of these patrols is actually coming almost into contact with the forest?
I'd say that two of the patrols that are kind of on the edge of town, closer to the forest, as part of their routes, they would kind of go into the forest just a little bit. They're not, so that is a point of ambush that you could set up, because they're not really. It seems like they're kind of patrolling the perimeter of the town, but as part of that, they're going into the forest a little bit just to kind of scout things out.
Well, in that case, knowing that they are within the forest, at some point, why don't we prepare an ambush with our noisy friend, doing jumping jacks, running around, whatever you want, and myself. The forest is a place I feel very comfortable in.
We could definitely start, like, the first group, take the forest, maybe then go on to, like, because this town's not very big.
No.
So we could definitely, you know, take out the pod, take out maybe another one, and then before the change comes in, we'd probably have time to take out that one before they notice that something's up, and that would probably be maybe half their forces.
Possibly. And then just hide the bodies and
I think ambushing them in the forest is our best bet. At least a best place to start.
Because if anything, they're going to retreat into the temple. Goblins are cowards at best as well.
If they retreat into the temple, can any of you start a fire?
Yeah.
We can, but should we be burning this temple?
I don't think so.
Okay, here's my thought on this. I feel like this god would forgive us because we are saving his flock, his worshippers. I don't know. I'm not exactly what you would call a religious individual, but if we were to do this, I'm sure that there would be forgiveness of some sort.
It does make sense.
And
if the goblins are found to be doing a demonic ritual or something really nefarious in the temple, I would be more keen on burning it down than if they were just hanging out in there and could possibly be driven out. That is an option we can consider.
Exactly. So why not deep fried goblin, anyone?
While we're in town, I could also get a better look. I could do some better scouting, except out of the skies. If we need, so we could take a look in the temple. We could definitely, find a way to maneuver through.
Sweet.
I'm going to start walking towards where the patrol route comes closest to the forest.
I'm going to do the same.
As you guys are going to the kind of edge of the forest that is closer to the town, can any of you who would like make either perception checks or investigation or survival to look for good ambush spots?
I will do a perception check.
Ooh, casting a 17, nice.
And I get advantage for being a ranger for the forest.
Oh, heck yeah.
Thank you, advantage 19.
Nice.
I forgot you said we could roll real dice, and that was my plan this whole time, and I'm very upset that I rolled the digital dice for my very first roll in this campaign.
Oh, no.
Could I do a nature check, maybe?
Yeah, totally.
Since we're in the forest?
Yeah.
And then I'm going to guidance myself on this one.
Nice.
Never mind. It's a nat 2. Let's...
So you're like, man, I wish this was a lake right now. That would...
Too much. There's too much dry.
Yeah. But yeah, so Verkus and Caston with a 17 and 19 respectively. You guys...
Cousin!
Well, cousin, yeah. You guys find there's a little area where and Tide's Owl has kind of shown that this is a path that the goblins are likely going to go on. So you find some thick trees, and they're going to be a little bit below you as they come through this part too. There's like a little bit of a rise in the ground where the trees are, so it's a great ambush spot. So you guys can automatically like get stealth there, and you find some leaves and stuff to kind of like disguise yourselves. And yeah, so after you guys have to wait about half an hour for it. Sorry, one of my cats is getting under me. So it takes about half an hour for the guard to come back around, but it's starting to be nightfall now, so you got that extra element of surprise coming in. So
I'll have my swords unsheathed.
nice. Cool.
I have my short bow ready to go.
Perfect. Oh, this is great. And since it's such a small group of goblins, I'm not going to map it out. And since it's a good ambush too, so we're just going to, unless we need to as we kind of go, but let me just keep track. So yeah, a group of 5 does come in.
Group of 5? Okay.
Yeah.
So I will be like acting like I'm injured.
Oh, okay, nice.
like leaning against a like partially burned building or a tree or something, like right on the edge of their patrol route between them and the ambush point.
Nice.
And I'll just like lay there and be like, oh.
What was me?
Like really like near death.
I love it.
And I'll just wait for the patrol to come by.
I'll
So,
make,
like-
with Druidcraft, I want to make like the smell of rot just around him to make it seem like he's really having a rough time.
So about 15 feet away from him, along the path, I'm going to scatter a bag of caltrops,
Nice.
and then I'm going to spill from my water pot. I'm going to spill some water over them, and like, so I'm going to have 2 5-foot squares.
Nice.
And I'm going to freeze both of them, so it's like a 10-foot of like frozen.
Nice.
I can keep those active because they're non-instantaneous effects, but the instantaneous effect that I can keep is I want to make them dark so that you can't see. So
Like black ice
I can
almost,
change
yeah.
I can change the color of the water.
That's
So I'm gonna
awesome.
make it so like it's either see-through, like it's too dark, like it looks like it's the grass. You can't see the caltrops along
Nice.
the road. I'm gonna have about 15 feet away from him as they approach.
Are you gonna tell me about this or not? Because I'm totally gonna eat it.
Yeah, I'm like, definitely like I'm telling the people the path. Like, yeah, I was like, there's like you guys see me set it up. Like I definitely like have like this like just like this. I'm like I scatter some caltrops here, and then I can just like fuck around with like the water. Like
I dig it. That's perfect.
Yeah.
That's a great trap.
I like said that trap, and then like I'll hide behind some trees or so.
But
Okay.
yeah, real quick, can all of you guys roll me initiative, or do you want to, as a group, kind of initiate in whatever order you want? I like to give that option to where you guys can kind of dictate the initiative order on your end of things.
This is how
This
I
is an
see it
ambush.
going down. So I like get their attention. I'm acting all infirm, and then when they get kind of close, I just stand up, spring up, jump a little bit, and then start booking it into the chasm. And then when I'm like at the perfect ambush point, I'll just turn around and drop my sword.
Okay, perfect.
And
then
when
with the
I do
traps,
that,
though,
everyone can release
Well,
something.
I wouldn't mind rolling initiative, and we can all hold our action, and like Armos
Yeah,
can
that's
go
a good
first
idea.
Oh,
if
cool.
if he wants to go first. Like, and then we can just pick up initiative from there.
I
Yeah,
agree.
let's do that then. Yeah.
Yeah. So roll an initiative.
Yep.
11. Sorry, mine's not pulling up in. I'll type mine.
4.
Oh yeah, Tide got an 11, and 4 for Eremos.
14.
14, nice.
It stayed on a 19 for like a split second.
I got a 5.
Okay.
Oh no.
All right. So, just to make sure, I want to confirm with the plan, with Eremos and then Tide's awesome trap. You're gonna lead them towards that trap, and so like right before they're gonna run into that, right before you stop at the ambush point.
So I imagine that you said there's like a low ground that I'm leading them to, right? So is it like a bluff or a cliff or something that people are hiding up on, or?
So there's kind of a ridge that you guys set up on, is how I imagined it, and there's trees on that ridge, so you got lots of cover and concealment. And then it's not like a cliff but the ridge, it kind of it's kind of steep as it goes down, and then there's trees all along it, but there's kind of like a path in the forest that's at a lower point, so that's kind of along there.
So I will lead the goblins along the path. Would I be able to jump over the black ice? No skill check needed as part of my movement.
I'd say so, yeah.
Then that's my plan. Yeah, I'll
Since
just
you know where it is and everything, yeah.
jump over the black ice and then like turn and face them as they're falling and getting shot.
Sounds perfect.
And right before initiative, I'm going to take a petal of my Tide Leaf.
Nice.
Cool. Let me roll my Constitution save.
Yes.
Would you say that I probably would have passed the save to my own plant at this point?
Yeah.
A 19. Dope.
Nice.
And now I roll a d4. Please be a 1. That'd be cool. That's a 2. Okay, cool.
So what's the benefit for a 2 again?
My movement increased by 10.
Nice. Very cool.
All right.
That's nifty. Well,
so you just like, as we're all kind of like setting up, I just like put a little petal under my mouth, and then I just kind of like, my eyes get a little bit wider, but like they're a little bit droopy too, and I'm just like very aware, and I'm just like,
I'm imagining your eyes look like Hypnotoad from
no, just more open. My so you can see them more now since my eyes are a little bit more like open. My pupils are moons. But they're currently, it's like the way you see the pupil is a new moon, so it's like dark with a little like iris around it.
That's cool.
I'm just like, okay, guys, let's get these goblins. Let's go.
We're about to fight, and you choose this point to get high.
I hand you one, like
later.
Okay.
I'll try one.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh.
What do I have to do?
Oh, you take it right away. Perfect.
Nice.
Nice. I trust it.
It's a con saving throw for your first time. So yeah, roll your con save. See what you get the first time.
All right. Dirty 20.
Nice.
Oh, dope.
Nice. Okay.
So you're good. You only take the first effect of this. Now roll a d4.
My little chip D4. I got a 2.
Your movement speed is also increased by 10.
These poor goblins are about to just get
good stuff, right? Like,
literally,
my eyes also just like zoom out, and I'm like, I'm ready.
Awesome. Well, you guys have set up a great ambush with the trap and the positioning and everything. You guys are all feeling very confident about how this is going to go down. So Eremos goes down and gets in position looking wounded.
On my leg!
On my leg!
I need sexy help.
Soon enough, a few minutes later after you move into position, sure enough, 5 goblins in little like scrapped together armor, carrying scimitars, and 2 of them have short bows, but the other 3 have scimitars. Well, all 5 have scimitars. 2 of them have bows, and they spot you, and they draw their weapons and start running towards you. And
they're about like 10 feet from me, I spring up real quick and start booking it down the path.
Nice. Yeah, they shriek and go, ah! And they start chasing after you. And yeah, you're able to jump over Tide's trap, no problem. And they're going to run and hit that. All 5 of them just don't even see it coming. So, for the effects of it, I figure they're knocked prone, right, Todd?
They should
So
probably make a dex save, right?
so yeah, that's totally up to you because like this is just shape water as a cantrip.
Yeah.
So we could totally set up like a dex save versus my spell save DC if that's how we want to play this, because I have shenanigans up the everything.
Awesome.
That
I'd say for them, because they don't know it's there and they're chasing, and you've changed the color of the water, so it's like impossible to see. I'm gonna make it where it's gonna be like a DC 19 dex save. So let me roll for them real quick. I doubt any of them are gonna stay standing. You know.
Love it.
I'm gonna draw my sword and attack them as soon as they're prone too.
Perfect. Oh, one did roll a nat 20, so there is one very
he like
sturdy
slides
goblin
through the ice. Like,
yeah.
Hits the ice and just like surfs.
Yes. So yeah, as soon as the goblins hit the ice, you hear just like squawking and screaming as they just their feet go out from under them. They fall, and all four who fall do fall on those caltrops.
Yeah, definitely. So they
Jesus.
have. Let me see what those do again. Let me remove one of them from my
So
inventory.
this is acupuncture.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they take
acupuncture.
they take 1 point of piercing damage, but their walking speed is decreased by 10 until they regain at least 1 hit point.
Oh, nice. Okay, so they're like stuck on these barbed things.
Yeah, so they're slowed, like they're like
Yeah.
kind of limping as they have like these little like caltrops stuck to them. So like they have a -1, one damage, and then their speed is decreased by 10.
Nice. Okay, so yeah, all but one of the goblins falls. The one that stays standing looks like he's pretty he's one of the more like stout, muscular goblins that you've ever seen. So it's like, okay, this guy might be the only one who's gonna go down with a little bit of an extra fight, you know. But
I will take a good slash, and I'll smash that guy with my Morning Star.
Perfect. Yeah, I'd say
The
go
one
for
that's
it.
still standing. Yep.
Yeah, we'll have Eremos attack first, and then everyone else can do an ambush attack as a surprise round, and then we'll move into combat. So I'll be surprised if the goblins actually make it to their own part of initiative, because this is a pretty. So let's see, Eremos,
Nice.
the first attack of the. I guess the trap was kind of the first attack of the campaign, but this is the first like slash attack.
Yeah,
Yes,
The first swing.
exactly. Is that in the dice reel channel?
Yep, it's a 20. I believe it's in the 20 to hit for 8 damage.
And that's for the sturdy front goblin.
Yeah, the one that didn't fall down. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now describe how you kill him. That's a kill.
Dirty boy.
As I'm jumping over I don't want to be too acrobatic about it because it's not my character at all. So as I jump around, I land, I stick the landing, I hear them clattering behind me, and as I'm turning around, I pull out my Morning Star and just clean his head off.
Nice.
Ooh.
Yeah, he goes down immediately with your Morning Star just ripping his head in two, basically. So he falls to the ground immediately. And Verkus, you were actually next. You see that there are 4 goblins prone, wounded.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just run up and stab.
Nice.
I run up with my twin short swords to dispatch hopefully 2.
Sweet. You'll get advantage because they're prone.
I love hearing advantage.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, let's flank.
All right. My first was a 14.
That actually does not hit.
I rolled a 7 was the highest. I rolled a 7 and a 2.
Oh no.
Okay, I will hit this time. Okay, a 23 to hit.
That absolutely hits.
Okay. And my short sword for 7 points of damage.
Nice. So as you run up, one of the goblins that has his bow, you go to stab him, and he actually he uses his bow to kind of block your strike. So that was the first one, so he doesn't take any damage. But then you're able to move to the side and slashing down with your other short sword, you just grab one goblin right at the throat and kill it. So there are only 3 goblins remaining now after Verkus.
Now to add Goblin Slayer to my list of titles.
Verkus, working Goblin Slayer. But Tide is up next. Or the Flash, as we'll call you right now with your plant.
So the two there, if there's 3 on the ground prone, 2 of them that are within 5 feet of each other, I can target with Sacred Flame because of my subclass.
Hell yeah.
So I will. They both need to make a dex save. 14.
Cool. 14 dex save.
Mm-hmm.
And my dice fell.
So I kind of look over at them, and I get like a little bit of the moonlight that's like kind of peering through the leaves. I kind of like take like maybe like a little thread of the light. And there, since I can take 2 of them, they kind of like just stab down towards these goblins, and then there's a little spark that does like a little like kind of like a moony like flame, kind of like sacred flame that goes there.
Oh, that's cool.
Very cool.
So one of them rolled a 5, so they absolutely fail,
Mm-hmm.
and then the other one rolled a 14, so they just barely pass.
Cool.
So do they take half damage?
No.
Yeah.
So there were nothing from. Yeah, on a they take 1d8 if they fail.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, cantrips are, fail and damage or pass and nothing.
Yeah.
That's only 4.
What was the damage roll on that?
4.
It was 4 radiant damage.
Oh, 4 radiant. Perfect. Okay. So, you hit one of the goblins, and you can tell it burns him very badly. He shrieks, and you see his armor kind of like smoking from the strike. He's nearly dead, but he is still alive. So, there are 3 goblins, 2 wounded, 1 badly wounded now.
I'll like get at least 10 feet or so away from them, and then I'll like be behind some trees to get any kind of cover from like if any of them still have the longbows are still up.
Only one with the longbow is still there, but he might be able to get up and fire potentially. So
yeah, I just make sure that he doesn't have direct line of sight on me, so I have like half cover or whatever I can get.
I mean, some of these trees are pretty thick, and you guys chose one with like a spot with thick trees. So yeah, you'll get full cover for sure.
Yep.
Sweet.
Now it's my turn.
Caston, you're up.
Seeing that they are all prone, I'm going to swap my short bow for my quarterstaff, which is really just like a really big tree branch.
Nice.
It's not like a carved anything fancy. It's just like a big walking stick. And so like I'm just going to run up and just kind of like thwack the guy that Tide just sacred flamed.
Okay, nice. So yeah, roll that attack at advantage, and he has very little HP left, so pretty much if you hit him, I think he'll go down.
I did not hit him because that's a 12.
With advantage?
Yeah, I rolled a 3 and a 10.
Okay, so this guy is like, after getting hit by that sacred flame, he's like squirming, and he kind of is just able to kind of writhe away and dodge your staff strikes.
It's also nighttime, so I'm probably looking more up at the sky and the stars than anything. And so like I just slipped a little bit on the ice. I was like,
Yes. But yeah, so anything else for your turn? Like, do you want to get a little distance between you and them, or stay engaged?
I'll go ahead and back up a bit.
Okay.
And then I'll stay in the open. Kastan's not very big on combat. He's never really been in combat, so this all plays out exactly as it should.
Perfect. Perfect. All right. Well, we're back to Eremos. If you want to strike again at these 3 wounded goblins before you.
So now that we finished our surprise round, we should be in the actual initiative order, I think. And I got like a.
You're the end of our surprise round.
Oh,
yeah, you're the end of our surprise round. You kind of got like a bonus attack to initiate, so yeah.
Heck yeah. Okay, then I will take another Morningstar strike at one of the full health ones that are on the ground.
Sweet. Yeah, we'll do it at advantage.
I'm rolling it in the dice rolls channel.
Sweet.
And my predictive text has not learned Morningstar yet.
That'd be weird if it had,
There we go. Okay, so I hit for minimum damage. So 19 to hit for 3 damage.
Cool. Yeah, one of the ones that has a scimitar, he kind of looks like he's trying to stagger to his feet, and you smack him down right in the back with the Morningstar and take away half his remaining HP. So he's looking pretty badly hurt. So.
And I'll just stand there and tank.
Yeah. Okay, sounds good. Well, that is now we're dropping into the normal combat. So I got to roll for these 3. I didn't think they'd last that long. So let me put them in the list real quick here.
Sorry to disappoint. Yeah.
Happy to disappoint. Very happy to disappoint.
Oh, these guys are rolling really high. They might actually.
Oh no! Not happy to disappoint. Not happy to disappoint.
That's what you get for saying something. Goblins lie.
Yeah, it looks like they will all actually get to
Oh no.
get to go. So first up is the one with a short bow. He's gonna stagger to his feet, which he has from the caltrops lower movement speed, right, Tide? Because he hasn't healed. Okay.
Yeah, -10.
Yeah.
-10. Okay, cool. So yeah, he is going to get up as an action and then move 20 feet away.
Will he invoke an attack of opportunity from any of us?
Actually,
From
you know what?
Eremos, maybe.
Yeah.
Eremos,
Eremos, as he
myself.
staggers to his feet. Yeah, because
Okay.
you're up there too, Verkus.
I'm up there too. Yeah.
He also needs to spend half his movement just getting up.
Right.
So he would only be able to move 10 feet away.
Yeah, exactly. So he's not getting far. So, which of you has the higher dex mod? I guess that's how we'll determine who takes the attack.
I have a
opportunity
+5.
first. Okay, yeah. So
Whoa.
Verkus gets to attack first, and then if he's still standing, then Eremos can follow up with an attack as well.
Okay. Okay, that's a 25 to hit.
That absolutely hits.
Okay.
Weird. This goblin doesn't hit by that.
Surprise!
His AC's higher when he's standing. It's strange.
6 points of damage.
Nice, that's a kill.
Mm-hmm.
So describe how you cut down this goblin as it gets to its feet.
You know, as Verkus swings his blade to cut the throat of the goblin,
yeah,
he doesn't notice as the other goblin is standing up, and he just lodges the sword into its skull.
Nice.
And just meant to do that. Yeah.
I love it. That is perfect.
Very good purposeful strike, Verkus.
Thank you.
That must be how my cousin took down the orcs. Of course.
Yes.
Of course. Awesome. Well, that one goes down before he can complete his movement. So next up is, there's only 2 goblins left. There's the one that Eremos wounded with his Morning Star. That one's going to go next. And it's going to use half its movement getting to its feet. Which, since Verkus just took an attack of opportunity, I'd say Eremos, your turn to, because this guy's going to try to retreat also. So go for it.
Yeah, I'll swing it. Absolutely. Oh, and it's only a 10 to hit.
Ooh, that does not hit, actually.
I didn't think so.
He's able to use his little sword, and he barely blocks your Morningstar strike. You almost knock him to his feet. I would back down with the strike, but he manages to kind of start scurrying away a little bit. So he's just going to try to put distance between you guys and start to run for his turn.
So he gets 10 feet. 10. Well, no, because he has an action to dash if he would like to dash.
Right, so because his speed's lower, if he were to dash, it would be 40 feet, but he has to use half of the first movement to get up, so he's able to move 30 feet away.
Okay.
Doing a dash,
so he gets his normal speed. All right.
Yeah.
He
took his whole dash.
Action.
Yeah. Yes, that's all he can do. So, all right, and then the more wounded goblin is going to he's actually going to try to. You're surprised by his boldness. He's going to strike at Eremos from the ground. So he'll have disadvantage because he's prone and you're not. But he's going to try to cut your ankle or something. So I'm going to roll for him at disadvantage, and he rolled a nat 1. So he kind of goes to attack you, and as he swings, he like overextends and ends up just like dragging himself on the caltrops even more. So I'm just going to give him 1 damage for failing so badly. So he's almost dead now. He has 1 HP left. So you can tell as soon as he swings, he immediately regrets his decision. I was like, oh, I should have run like my friend there. So Verkus, it is your turn now, my friend. Those are the remaining goblins are taking their turns.
Okay, I'm sorry. So for Verkus, there's 1 goblin that ran 30 feet away.
Correct. And then the other one is like 5 or 10 feet away and prone.
And prone?
Yeah, on the caltrops.
Oh, then I'm going to chase down the runner.
Cool.
I have 30 feet of movement, so I'm just going to run up and slash. The first is an 18 to hit.
That hits.
All right, and for 6 points of damage.
That's a kill. So that goblin goes down. Do you like run up and stab him or slash?
I run after him and I don't see the black ice. Slip on the black ice and I fall on the goblin, but my sword first.
Nice.
Skewering the goblin. And again, Sandy, I meant to do that.
I love it.
Got it.
Got it. Yes, that's 2 kills now. I love it. And so after Verkus, Tide, you're up. There's just the one goblin at the feet of Aramos, and that goblin is just on the death's door. He's not doing good. He's not having a good day.
Yeah, I like step behind the tree. I kind of like do like a little like hand motion, and like the ice that he's under, like you'll see like a little like hand forms out of the ice, and then just like goes to like touch him. And I'm just gonna cast Chill Touch on him.
Nice.
My owl will. Well, he's prone. Well, again, so I say if he's prone, like that doesn't give me advantage on.
It gives
that.
disadvantage on ranged attacks.
Make a ranged spell attack. So my my owl will come down and swoop and like pin this guy, or like grab his hair and like pull him up a little bit on his way. So like I can just get a regular hit on this guy.
Yeah.
The advantage will cancel it out.
I like it.
A 14.
So his AC is 15.
Okay, yeah.
So
I
he
rolled
actually
an 8, so I was like, fuck. Like,
yeah. So he somehow.
So he's like, the hand just comes out of the ice, and he just like gets out of the way. Probably freaked out.
Yeah.
And is like, it's supposed to be spectral, but it's like frost kind of like coming off of it as it tries to like reach for him.
Nice. Cool.
And then my owl flies away.
Could your owl also like do a talent attack?
I don't think it can. I don't think fine familiars. I don't think can attack. They can use their features, but they can't.
They can help. They can help, but they can't attack. Yeah.
Makes sense. Well, that was a good turn. That was fun. Castan, you got a chance to put that
your own
quarterstaff to work. Yeah.
Yeah.
Get out of its misery.
I'm not very skilled with attacks with my quarterstaff, so Kastan's just gonna lean more into the nature of things, and we're gonna try and thorn whip this guy.
Nice.
That's a dirty 20 to hit.
Oh, that'll hit for sure.
For 1 piercing damage.
Well, guess how much HP he had left.
What?
He had 1 left. That's
so I'm going to like summon this vine from just out of the forest floor and like just kind of cast it forward. My intent is just to wrap around his ankle and like pull him forward, but I aim like crap. So I accidentally like send it through and it just spikes through his eye. I'm like, oh! Sorry.
Yeah, the goblin kind of tenses up and just falls back dead.
I've never done that before.
You guys have just completed your first combat successfully. Great work. So, as you guys are regrouping, Tide, your owl would spot that there is another patrol that's going to be coming this way probably in about 20 minutes. So if you guys want to do anything with further traps or setting up
hide the bodies.
Right. Whatever you guys want to do. Oh, I think you're muted, Tide.
He is.
Probably like drag the bodies like into the forest where like they're not going to be spotted, and I'll prestidigitation like any blood and like stuff away.
Yeah, I'll put some shrubbery over them.
Nice.
And if you need me to roll a survival or something on that.
No, you guys have time to do that, so it's
moss burial over them.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I will say a prayer of thanks to my patron and a prayer for continued success.
Nice.
That's fine. And then I will take up my position as a wounded soldier again in this stream.
Nice. As you guys are setting up to ambush the next patrol, you guys are gonna hear footsteps coming from the opposite direction. And Hirgon runs up and says, "We may have a bigger problem than we realized here." And that's where we're gonna end the session.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's our cliffhanger. So for next game.
No me gusta.
Yeah.
Oh my